Tippy Timer Damies, Top Cat here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to show you how to conquer the Glassway Grandmaster inside of Season 16. Glassway has long been considered one of the toughest GMs by the community at large, but I'll take you through it to show you the positioning and tips along the way. If you find this video useful, please feel free to hit the like button at any point during this video. First up, Team Comp. We ran one Stasis Warlock with Bleak Watcher. The Stasis turrets are great throughout this GM. They'll slow down play. Bleak Watchers act much like a makeshift radar, shooting ads you might not see coming as there is no radar. Word of caution though, its interaction with overloads is a bit buggy, as it will actually break the overload stun. So you're only going to want to use these defensively against overloads to freeze them. Keep them frozen and get a res if required. If you have a turret out and it finds an overload, call your team over to work on it together, making sure that somebody is laying down overload rounds into it whilst the others lay DPS on it. The super itself is very strong in the boss fight room. If you have too many high health bar enemies in the boss fight room, this is great at slowing down play, freezing them so you can engage the one that you want to engage. The super itself will kill a full health ad, much like the overload, or more importantly the giant turkey wyverns. For your second fire team member, I would recommend using a void build, preferably with weakening overload grenades, much like a Controverse Hold Nova build is probably going to be your best bet, but a void hunter can also fill this role. If you are a hunter, I would recommend bringing the Aeons for those many heavy bricks. However, we actually had our third character, the Sentinel Banner, running the Aeons, as we found it didn't really need to lean on the super as much as we had to in previous seasons. And so as long as you stood behind the banner shield, it stayed up long enough, so we didn't really need the Ursas, so the Aeons were a great substitution. But for the Titan, when you're going to go for the finishes, I would recommend popping a little shield beforehand to get the overshield, then run in and get the finish for dem double bricks. When it comes to weapon loadouts, you're going to want to be prepared with overload and anti-barrier weapons. There are both solar and arc shields in this. I would lean towards arc over solar, as the final room has a lot of arc harpies in it, and this is the most dangerous part of the GM. The only shields you're really going to have to worry about are two solar heavy shanks in the plate capture room. We ran ×2 DMTs and a hung jury. Vorpal weapon on the DMTs is great, and explosive payload on the jury. And we used the scout rifles for safe but slow DPS on the boss. We ran triple autos, but only 2 is really necessary. A great option is running one blinding GL, but I'll leave this for your fire team to decide. And finally, rockets, and more rockets. We had Gallahorn and double explosive light. Being that there is only 2 solar shields in this GM, in the plate capture, and the galley could take swift action on these, so feel free to bring your Palmyra, Hothead or Ascendancy for the other 2 characters. Upon starting the GM, always take a look to your right, as you might get lucky and there might be a public event flag for your free super. Once inside, I would just chuck out a turret to slow down the ads from aggressing you. Kill these little guys quickly so you can aggress the overload together. I like to stand up here on this ledge, dump down a rift and throw out your turret, send somebody down to spawn the ads, and then team the overload when it aggresses you. In most of the rooms in this GM, you're going to find that there are 2 champions. It's generally going to be an overload first, followed by a barrier. I would generally kill the first one and then finish the second. This just makes it safer for whoever is finishing, and you don't want to send them in with too many ads throughout the room. The next room will have a mini boss in it, so don't push past this rock on the right until the overload is down and all snipers on the top right hand side have been cleared. This can often be a time you might want to pop your banner shield, but I would recommend trying to save it for the next room. Try and take the mini boss down before the barrier servitor comes out, as you're going to want to finish him for the heavy ammo. In this room, do not move past this pillar again. Much like the last room, you're going to want to kill the overload, kill the mini boss, then move up for the barrier finish. If popping banner here, try and position yourself between the rock and the pillar. This gives your teammates the best sight line, and hopefully not all your orbs are going to roll off the map into the abyss. In this transition room, we first clear from the left, and then I move around with the fire team towards the right. I like to wait for the overload to jump up, ideally, as there will be snipers trying to take you out from afar. Make sure before jumping across that you clear all the mines, as once you jump over it's going to spawn the other overload, and you don't want to be stuck in no man's land when he does. This plate capture room used to be quite annoying, but now runs quite easy. Have either a hunter or a titan do the plate in waves, and have your other two players sitting back left and right behind cover, getting ready to pick off adds as they dribble out. The adds spawn at around every 10%, and they'll only spawn on one side at a time. So your titan or hunter is going to stand on the plate, spawn the adds off the plate, shoot left on the plate, spawn adds off the plate, shoot right, and just repeat this until it is done. The only time they spawn on both sides is the final 10%, and it's only a handful of adds, so it's fairly easy to kill. Team this overload from up top, and then send one person down to spawn the adds. Clear these, use your scout rifles as these adds are at some range, and there'll be a bunch of snipers upon the rails both on left and right up top. Try and finish this final barrier champ, as we are now heading into the boss room and you're going to want all the heavy you can get your hands on. Now we're in the thick of it, and these adds here are going to die, then we spawn the boss. I always like to play in the left hand room as there's more space and there's no Vex milk on the floor. There are 3 entrances into this room, and you're going to want to post up a fire team member on each side. I like popping a stasis turret in the middle doorway, as generally the low tier adds will funnel in here and the boss will either be on the left or right hand side. We want to ignore the boss for now. On the first round of adds, we want to kill the first overloads. There will be 2 of them. With your team on each doorway, they're going to call out when the overload spawns. When this happens, move to that location as soon as possible. Take them down together and then move back to your doors to try and find the second overload as soon as humanly possible. The mini Hydra will also want to come into this room. You don't really want to worry about doing any damage to him until the overloads are down. Either keep blinding him with your blinding GL or freeze him with your stasis turrets. Once these overloads are down, we shoot through the shield of this mini boss. We use our scout rifles as we don't really want to be wasting our heavy ammo. So just shoot through the shields and wait for the sign Vex reinforcements are inbound. This will be on the bottom left hand side of your screen. Once this pops up, shoot some rockets at him so you can despawn him as soon as possible. Then head back to your doorways, as there'll be another wave of adds and another pair of overloads, and just repeat that same process again. Once these overloads are dead, you can wail on the boss for a bit, he'll leave, and it's much the same process over again. This time our focus will be on the wyverns and anti-barriers. Wyverns first, then the anti-barriers. The anti-barriers shouldn't come inside, so it'll let you focus on the wyverns. The Nova Bomb here is good for the wyverns, and so are the other 2 supers, but I would recommend trying to save the stasis super and the banner shield more so for if somebody goes down. Use your Nova Bomb on wyverns and rockets additionally. This will then free you up so you can go take out the anti-barriers outside and try and get finishes on them if you can. We're going to go back into our left hand room and scout rifle the Hydra down again so he pisses off. More wyverns and more barriers. Once they are down, there'll be another wave of overloads, and on this round there will be fanatics, which aren't normally too much of an issue, but in this encounter without a radar they are silent and deadly and like to try and sneak up behind you, so keep your head on a swivel. Once these overloads are down, go outside for an ammo run if needed before damaging the boss anymore. Same again, whittle them down with your scout rifles, and also this is a great chance to gen super. So whoever doesn't have a super, let them damage the boss so they can get their super energy up, as damage equals super energy regen. Overloads again ×2, heavy run, damage boss. I would recommend waiting for your supers, as you really don't want to drop the ball when you're diving over the line. You're going to have 2 wyverns again and the mini boss inside the room. Feel free to kill this mini boss now, but remember he is going to spawn another 2 wyverns. After these are all dead, you can kill the barriers if you want to make sure you are going to get platinum, but if you're just after the completion, feel free to kill the boss and leave these barriers alive. It is of no consequence. Anyway guys, that is the video for today. I hope this guide helps you. This isn't what I would call a farmable GM, but if you're just going for the completion or for the Conqueror seal, I hope this helps you. Anyway guys, that is all for today. As always, hope you liked it. Please comment down below, smash that like button, and tippy tie till next time, what a tie. Bottom of everything, he's the most tip top.